Hello, Tranquil parents. My name is Sonja Redden. I'd like to introduce myself to you and tell you a little bit about my story. I was divorced when my youngest was 3, my middle child was 5, and my oldest was 9. And after we divorced, we had quite a few years of not getting along. There was a lot of text messages, there was a lot of emails, there was a lot of conflict. I had no idea how to cope, and it was obvious the harm that was going on with my children. So I needed to figure out how to get myself back to having a life after all of this trauma. So I started taking parenting classes. I thought there's something missing. I need to take parenting classes to make myself feel better, make myself feel like I'm a good mom. So I became a registered Love and Logic parenting instructor. I took the Breakthrough Parenting class, and I'm a certified Breakthrough Parenting instructor. Still, nothing helped with the conflict between my ex-husband and I, and nothing was stopping the harm with my children. We, one day we'd get along, the next day we wouldn't, and it was just back and forth constantly. We would go on vacations together, but then the next week everything was a mess again. So even with transitions, with changing schedules for holidays, and possibly switching one day here, one day there, and the kids barely knew my family, but they knew his family. That was my biggest struggle, that I just wanted things to be balanced, I wanted things to be fair, but I felt that it couldn't ever be fair. So I was always in conflict, and I'm certain there's things that he wanted and couldn't get. So went in for a referee hearing so we could change some things, because the kids were a little older. So take the daycare off, they're going to school now, put the school on, and that turned into a battle when I thought it was just going to be just updating documentation. So constantly battling. 6 years into this, I'm still battling, and I'm trying to figure out how can I stop this. And I was definitely disappointed, because my work schedule made it so I only had 2 weeks off of vacation. My mother lived in Florida, my dad lived in Tennessee, so there really wasn't a lot of time for me to go see my family. So the kids didn't really get to know my mother even before she passed away. So it's just, there was so much frustration with how do I deal with all of this? How do I work with all of this? And I was trying to force my ex to have the same type of parenting style as me, have the same type of interest between him caring if the kids knew my family or not. And it was so frustrating. I could not figure out all of this. So I thought, well, maybe if I had a better paying job, and maybe if I went to school and I got a degree. So I got my bachelor's degree in visual arts, I got my master's degree in education, and I thought maybe if I got a better paying job and a higher job, that I'd have more time off of work. I'd at least have 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And so I ended up in a middle management position, and once again, I still only had 2 weeks. Even though I absolutely loved my job, it just didn't work out. So there was something had to click, something had to change. So I was watching TV one day, and I saw Dr. Wayne Dyer. He was talking about us living in a spirit, or us being spiritual beings living in an earthly experience or a humanly experience or something like that. And it just made me think, wait a minute, what am I doing? None of this even matters. The kids are going to love us eternally, regardless, what goes on here from day to day, and if we have an every other week schedule, or if we have a 5-3 or a 5-2 split, or none of that stuff matters anyway. So then I started thinking, how am I going to make this change? How am I going to make this so it doesn't happen anymore? And so I created this program, and I've been working with parents ever since, for about 2 years now. And things with my ex have calmed down a lot. We barely talk, because we don't necessarily need to, because I'm not debating about how he's doing something, he's not telling me how horrible I am at doing something. The children are allowed to have relationships with each of us on our own. And I created the step-by-step process. It's a 6-week program to do exactly that, to stop conflict, to deal with conflict management and how to cope. And I'm an artist, so I use art in order to implement using imagination to create different solutions that we might not see as that are, plainly there for us to see. So there's definitely art infused into the program. And my main goal is to prevent cruelty or minimize harm to children. And a lot of it's online, or some of it can be done in person, but most of it's online. I work with most of the parents have done the program completely online. So if you're interested in saying yes to life after all of this divorce and moving on, apply to work with me at www.sayyes.life, and we can make a discovery call. It's a much needed program for a lot of people. I see a lot of people struggling. I see a lot of criticism and a lot of parental alienation and family alienation, and things are much different for me now. I'm happily married. I have a wonderful house. My children are very comfortable when we're here. It's like night and day. So hopefully you give me a call and say yes to life after divorce. Thanks. Bye-bye.